Manu finishes with a 13.245 into 4th place. It looks like the top 8 riders out of the 11 will qualify. So this time matters. We have Trevor on track now. Trevor coming around, getting the bell. Trying to set a fast time. These junior men need to qualify in the top 8 to get into the sprint tournament. Right now the best time is the 12.493 by Parker. It looks like Trevor finishes with a 13.817. But now we have Luke on the track. Luke getting the bell. Looking at a top 8 time. Luke finishes with a 3rd best time at a 13.034. 13.034 for Luke. On the track is Remy. In its entirety shortly. Now Remy getting the bell. Just by my eye, this looks pretty speedy. And Remy slots into 3rd spot with a 12.742. 12.742 for Remy. On track now is Mark. Then we have Ben and Aiden finishing out the junior men. After this would be the master men sprint qualification. You should be over in the ready. Mark, Matt, Neil, and John. So Mark on the track now, rolling around, I believe, getting the bell. Looks like Mark finishers slotted into 2nd with a 12.581. 2 more riders to go. Remember, top 8. We're looking to qualify. Ben Rackness on track. Once again, sorry for the technical issues. As Ben getting the bell. Once again, these riders are looking to get top 8 to qualify. And Ben slotting into first place with a 12.061. Once again, a 12.061 for Ben with one rider to go. Remember, top 8 qualify. This is Aiden on track as the last rider. Aiden getting the bell. It looks like Aiden slots into second place with a 12.276. 12.276. So looks like the top 8 that are going to qualify are going to be Ben, Aiden, Parker, Mark, Evan. Oh, it just went away. Ben, Aiden, Parker, Mark, Evan, Remy, Luke, and Evan are going to be the 8 that qualify. And our masters are on track. This is Mark. It looks like all 4 of these riders are qualifying, but their 200 times are going to determine who they have to race next. It looks like Mark with a time of a 13.317, 13.317. It looks like Matt with a time of a 12.123, 12.123. Slots him into first place. Neil on the track now. Neil with a time of 12.254. Just like John on the track, the last rider to go for the Masters. Once again, all 4 riders will qualify, just depends on who they ride next. Up next is our elite men. See if we have Lachlan, Robert, Guy, Michael, Dylan, Brendan, and they're ready. John looking to beat the time of 12.123 of Matt Barley. And it looks like John slots into 4th place with a time of 13.510. So all 4 riders qualifying. Up next is our elite men, and Lachlan is starting us off. We're looking for Rob Mayfield. Looks like Lachlan's time is a 14.594. Lachlan, 14.594. They have 12 riders, and they're looking for 8 to qualify. Once again, looking for Robert Mayfield. It looks like we have our 3rd rider coming on the track now, Guy McClintock. That's cool. We have oh, cool. Yeah. And that's off the Burnaby side. Okay. Yeah, go like a. Looks like Guy's time is an 11.731. 11.731. I believe that's the fastest time of the day at the moment. Looks like we have Michael on track now. Looking to set the fast time. Number 8 qualified to the sprint tournament. Looks like Michael sets the fast time at 11.547. 11.547. New fast time. Dylan Davies is on track now. Looks like Dylan Davies with a time of 12.150. 12.150. Slotting him into third place, 12.150 for Dylan. It looks like we have Ryan on track now. Looks like maybe we're skipping a couple people here. Keeping us on our toes up here. Andy, come on, you needed to push harder. All right, looks like Ryan with a time of 11.955. 11.955 for Ryan. Looks like Carlberg is on track now. After him, it looks like we have Keith, Tyler, Sage, and Riley. I think I see all of them. So it looks like maybe Robert and Brendan were scratches. Carlberg is testing the traction limit here, I think. There he goes, he's picking it up. Rocking the double discs, wanting to go fast. Looking to best the time of an 11.547. And Carlberg with a 10.926. 10.926. So he's breaking the 11-second barrier. Fastest time of the day so far. And I believe they did it right here, and they have all the speedy fellas at the end. On track now, I believe we have Keith. It's just gonna be like finish line cam. This one, you know, it's gonna be a lot of cams to switch to. Looks like Keith with a time of 11.818. 11.818 for Keith. Tyler on track now. Also rocking the double discs. Testing traction speed. Tyler looking to best Carlberg's time of a 10.9. Looks like Tyler with a time of 11.216, slotting into second place, 11.216 for Tyler Davies. On track now is Sage. Looks like Sage with a 12.255, slotting into 8th place on the bubble with one rider to go. That's a hard place to be. Last on track is Riley. Oh, looks like we do have Mayfield. So we have a couple riders left. Oh no, we have our 2 missing riders left. I see them now. So we have 3 more riders left. Keeping us on our toes. This is Pickrell. This is Riley Pickrell on the track. Rocking Team Canada. And it looks like Riley setting the 5th best time at the moment with an 11.787. 11.787. Robert Mayfield's on the track at the moment, and we have Brendan on the ready. Looks like we have a tandem 200 coming up as well. Robert on track now. Robert Mayfield slotting into 10th place with a 12.447. 12.447. Looks like Dylan Davies is on the bubble with Brendan Cowley to go. I think some of our endurance riders are using this as like their warm-up jumps for their Omnium. Here goes our last elite men. Brendan sliding into 9th place with a 12.166. So looks like our qualifiers are Andrew, Tyler, Michael, Guy, Riley, Keith, Ryan, and Dylan. And up on the track is our tandem 200. for the pilot of Mark Anthony and rider of Stan Moore. Mostly they had a time of 15.369. 15.369. And I believe we're looking for our quarterfinals for our sprinters. Looks like up first we have Ben versus Evan. Heat 2 is Aiden versus Luke. Heat 3, Parker versus Remy. And Heat 4, Mark versus Evan. So Ben and Evan Richardson are up first. most of these, right? If you only need like the first bit of this, move it up even, you know? Sure. You get the third camera in. It's like
I can't. All right, coming on the track and starting their event now. Our first heat. That's Rackness at the lead position currently with that white helmet, the black and blue kit. Using these laps to get up to speed and then position themselves against one each other. So a lot of people describe this when they first see this event. They try to compare it to the mental game of chess, and that there is this back and forth, the mental game of positioning and timing the attack appropriately. As the bell rings, only 200 meters left, and still both riders wait in just a moment into turn 2. We get a nice dive from Rackness to the front of the lane. He'll take that lead position through the first 2 turns and looks to be holding well here. The counterpunch not quick enough, as it'll be Rackness moving on a little bit closer to going towards that top placings in the tournament. Evan Richardson will be seen again in future rounds, but it will be Rackness advancing out of the quarterfinals from this heat. Heat 2, coming onto the track momentarily, will be Aiden Crocker and Luke Hubner. On deck behind them is Heat 3, which is Parker Swanstrom and Remy Garrison. And there's the whistle for our second heat. It's Aiden Crocker currently in the lead position as they're coming through that back straight. Several bike lengths separating the lead rider currently, leaving a little bit of run-up room. Hubner closed down the gap a little bit there. That's the rider in the black and red in the second position currently. Now almost on the back wheel as they're getting into about that lap and a half to go. The Dr. Walker Sports Chiropractic rider does make the move on the back straight well ahead of the bell. Leaves himself some room here, an early move. Closing that gap down real quickly, though, as Crocker is able to get back onto the back wheel, and this is exactly how you want to do it. Textbook, catch the wheel and go over the top, and he will find his way there. That's going to be Crocker for Tag Cycling Race Team, going to be called the winner in that matchup. If you're tuning into the live stream or you're here on site and checking out what's going on today, this is the 2020 Northwest Track Cycling Challenge. We, of course, are into our second day of racing. We were here last night. Some great racing earlier yesterday as well. And today we're going to focus on some qualifiers for our sprint tournament to start this morning session off. We will not be finishing that tournament until later today, but we'll run those final sessions a little bit later on. As in any tournament format, you get bracketed in, and once you're seated into a position, you must continue to win many times if you want to continue to advance all the way to those prestigious final rounds at the top of the tournament. Coming on track now is Parker Swanstrom and Remy Garrison. Heat 4 is on deck. That's Mark Sato and Evan McBeath. And already getting started, our third heat of 4. Parker Swanstrom, the rider, currently at the front. If you've watched sprints before, or this is maybe your first time checking something out like this, being at the front early in the race is not necessarily you're winning anything. In fact, being at the front in a fast finishing race like this can oftentimes be disadvantageous if the rider behind you can get on that wheel and get your draft. That's why this race is such a mental game. Timing and attacking at the right time from the right position. And of course, the style of the rider will matter too. The longer riders may want to attack a little earlier. The more compact riders may go for the shorter distance sprint. Nice move here as the bell's ringing. Remy Garrison on a real quick move here, right across the line, and finds himself several bike lengths out in front. And he looks like he will be able to close this one down. And it does look like our triple shot rider out of Victoria, Remy, is picking up that heat. Heat 4 should be coming up next. Our last of 4 heats for the junior men. Let's see 2 Cannondale riders coming up head to head here. Mark versus Evan, both riding for the Cannondale team. And off we go on our 4th heat of 4. Our last rider to qualify and move on toward those semifinals, trying to work their way towards the top of the tournament, will be found here. Evan McBeath is the rider in the front position. Mark Sato closely watching that wheel. You imagine if their teammates, they've got a good sense of each other's strengths and weaknesses. Perhaps they've ridden each other around the track many times before. Maybe they train with each other on the road, or they've got a good sense of each other's tactics. So maybe they'll try something fresh here. According to the seeding, this would be the 2 closest in the 200-meter times. So we should see a pretty close matchup just based on top speed. This last round is almost always the most contentious of the qualifiers. That second heat was really close as well. As the bell rings, no change in position for the first 2 laps. Now the sprint is underway. The shorter way going to grab the lane. The inside edge going to be getting a little bit of advantage on the shorter track, and that might just be enough to hold on to the end. It's going to be close. It will be on the inside lane. The shortest lane gets an advantage in these events, and it will be, I believe, Evan McBeath. So you can see our winners. Our advancer is Evan McBeath, Remy Garrison, Aiden Crocker, and Ben Rackness. The 4 riders that will be carrying on to the semifinal rounds and continuing to work towards the top 4 places in today's sprint tournament. Andrew Carlberg and Dylan Davies will make up this first heat for the men's sprint tournament in the quarterfinal round. Once again, 4 heats, as only 8 riders qualified out of the 200-meter event. Carlberg is the rider in front, riding in that yellow and black kit. Dylan Davies in the white and blue. Bib number 130 sits pretty close on his rear wheel, trying to match the opening lap speeds here from Carlberg. Our fastest time in the 200 meters posted today by Andrew, so top speed advantage does go his way, and this should be, by the qualifying event, the most mismatched of this round in the sprints. Davies can make up for it in tactics and timing if he's able to find an opening against Andrew, although looks like Karlberg is going to just guard the front. Up and out of the saddle, bells ringing, and off we go. A 200 meter is going to be a real strong suit for Karlberg, who sits at the front and holds the front throughout the event and will be the rider advancing. Ryan Doddick and Tyler Davies are coming up next. They'll be followed by Heat 3 of Michael Go and Keith Bruneau. I know you've heard a couple different voices today. You're hearing, we've got a couple of us working the back end of this thing today, this morning. If you're familiar with our team here at Burnaby, there's our normal voice will be here tonight joining us for the evening session, but we're working the morning session to make sure that at least you know what's going on, and of course working the live stream. So we're glad to be here for the Northwest Track Challenge, as been invited to kind of work the stream side of things and keep things working that way. We'll be here throughout the day keeping the action live, so you can continue to share that. Our streaming, of course, going to YouTube. It would do the Burnaby Velodrome Club and all of the work that they're doing a great favor if you were to share the stream on Facebook, on Twitter. Let folks know that we have that stream up and rolling and that they can subscribe to Burnaby anytime if they want to get great video updates from them when they're streaming the action throughout their season as well. Again, you can go right now to YouTube, search the Burnaby Velodrome, and find the stream there. We're going to be trying to keep during this session, the results right next to the action, so you kind of see what's going on the track, as well as get an update of who's advancing, who's not in these rounds of the sprint tournament. TrackResults.live supporting that functionality. And our thanks to Burnaby Velodrome for inviting some of the Jerry Baker folks over here to work this. This is a really cool collaboration. We see a lot of riders coming from the Portland area, the Seattle area, and of course the Vancouver, Victoria areas, as we all tend to know each other, a pretty large Northwest community of racers and organizers and hosts and volunteers and families that kind of get all together and make up this area of the country and all the great racing that goes on up here. So it's really fun to be a part of this, what is our off season in Seattle. A very big event here in the Vancouver area for their track racing community. This heat is underway already after one lap down. You can see a couple bike lengths there for Tyler Davies at the front. And an acceleration and a turn of position as Ryan does make the acceleration. Tyler now on the back end of this one, going to have to find a second kick here. He has the faster 200 meter according to the qualifier. Can he put it to the work right now? Because he has to come over the top of the inside lane. Does he have enough speed? It looks like he's on, and he will carry through. It will be Davies unofficially over from over here with just enough acceleration on that home straight. Heat 3, Michael Go and Keith Bruneau will be coming up. It is Heat 4, Guy McClintock and Riley Pickrell that are on deck for the final heat in this event. And the whistle signifying the start of this heat. 3 out of 4 here, our third group. Keith Bruneau in the darker jersey. Elite Racing, bib 313. Michael Go in the brighter blue kit. Bruneau, a local, a North Van competitor coming in here. Riding for Juventus Racing from Edmonton, Alberta. It's Michael. Nice change of position and an aggressive move there as Michael Go will take his opportunity right now. Leaving several bike lengths here, and looks like Keith says, I'm not even sure I've got the ability to counter this one at all. As the bell rings, he's sitting up, and so it's going to be Go on the move. Go needs to put on the brakes here as he's basically won the heat already. But what a nice move there.
Looks like he's called it in behind.
Michael makes it into the next round of racing as our final heat will be coming up here in the quarterfinals for the men. McClintock and Pickrell coming on track here momentarily. And now the fourth heat on track. Usually by the 200 meters, this will be the most competitive of the rounds. We'll see how this one plays out with the Split Mango competitor on the inside, Vancouver competitor, Guy McClintock. His opponent in this heat, Riley Pickrell. Red Truck Racing presented by Mosaic Homes, a Vancouver competitor right behind him, another local racer. Currently racing in the colors of Team Canada, as you'll notice. The maple leaf on the back of his jersey. He's bib number 142 and in the second wheel position by Top Speed. Again, very closely matched are these two. McClintock comes out of the lane a little high. Hearing the bell, the lane underneath is open, but no one takes it until McClintock comes back down in it and he continues to just hold this position. It's a drag race. He's just holding on for the final speed. He's trying to zip lock around this end. Little move. Oh, I don't think it's enough. As Pickrell says, I was just trying to get enough speed at the last second to zip around you, and I'm not sure it paid off. It will be McClintock called the winner on the inside. Coming up next, the women's scratch race, their first of their Omnium for today. This women's scratch race is coming on track next. That whistle signaling for our women competitors to make the way to the track. Again, we will be starting here in just a moment with the women's scratch race, their first in the Omnium today in this event. See some of our starters here today. Claire Cameron, Astrid Wurr, Zoe Sacchio, Samantha Hargraves, Annabella Stoll-Dansero, Ujfalusi, I believe, Kaya Bessler, and Annabelle Thomas. All registered to start this event today. About ready to get started in this 25-lap competition. And we are underway with the neutral currently. You'll hear a sound here shortly. The sound of the gun should signify the start of the race. 25 laps will show at the top of this one. It's a scratch race. First rider across the line at the end of it all will be our winner. Remember that the way this one plays out is that riders are earning points for an Omnium, so we'll add these things up for their second race. First rider picks up the most number of points to carry forward into the next event. All right, a couple laps into this event, and you'll see that the riders, at least early on, in a formation akin to sort of a pace line formation, relatively strung out and trying to preserve energy within the group. The most conservative way to ride is to be behind somebody else. Let them do the work. Riders at the front will push the pace just long enough, take their turn, and out of the way they go. Pretty common in the early laps of scratch race. No other incentive built into the earlier laps except for maybe if you're looking to put a little hurt on someone else in the field, set yourself up for success later. Maybe your strong suit is endurance. A lot of these trackies out here don't want to go for too long and too fast. Otherwise, sit in the line, keep things moving, wait for your opportunity, and if there is one, go ahead and make a move if that's what you feel your play should be. In the red, they're swinging up for that front position in the red kit, moving now and almost to the back was Annabella Stoll-Dansero. So riders rotating around, taking their turns. So you've taken one short pull, out of the way you go. Klotman Simpson, Mackay Bessler in the black and yellow, pulls right. Giving room for one of the Cannondale competitors to take the front, and that's a pretty good turn of speed there. Not what I'd call a straight-on attack, but certainly trying to apply some pressure. As that was Astrid Wurr, another one of the Vancouver competitors in the green with the white helmet. Her teammate now with the black helmet at the front. I believe that's going to be Lily Falusi. There's Annabella again, and that red moves up to the front. "15 laps should have been shown there as they came on by, as Samantha Hargraves, one of the Alberta competitors, making her way over here in the blue and black kit, that primary blue kind of colored helmet. Slots in about third in the back there after taking her pole. Once again, Astrid at the front, taking turns. Almost halfway through this event. No one called her name yet. Zoe Sacchio was just at the front on the previous side. She's in the red with the black helmet. Third wheel from the front currently. Third at U.S. Pursuits Nationals is what I hear. It was a recent impressive result on the national stage. So, as is always the case with this great race, we've got a lot of good competitors coming in from all over the place. Top speed athletes making their way in here to Burnaby. Expecting to see, I believe, 10 to go here as they come across. So coming into it here, we're going to get down to the single digits in the laps remaining. Of course, the biggest race in the Omnium will be the points race at the end of it all. This is a cumulative event, so you're watching this kind of a long series of events unfold, and this is just the first chapter in that story for the Omnium competition. The three legs of it, the first, the scratch, you'll earn points based on your finishing position. You'll continue to add those totals up as we finish with the points race. Riders will start with however many points they've earned from the previous two, and we'll continue to earn those throughout the event. You can see the speed really coming here as we've got a bit of a break forming away, and this has been pretty consistent now as it looks like Astrid's working together with Bessler. Getting away from the rest of the field, that gap opening up nicely here as Bessler now takes her turn, seeing 5 to go. I believe we're showing 5. On the front, on the back straight here, it's still going to be our pairing of two as Bessler in the yellow and gray has taken a pretty good pole and gives back the lead position to Astrid. The gap's starting to kind of close down here. Look at this move out of the field. The chase is coming. They can see that their attempts are being sniffed out, as it looks like Claire Cameron in the blue has been the primary instigator to chase and close, and as she does so, you'll notice that the front of the race actually slows back down. Now without the carrot on the stick out in front of the group, they're going to go ahead and settle back in, and now it's eyes left and right. You're waiting for someone else to make the move as they know they're getting awfully close. Seeing 2 to go at this point, so their positioning is going to be really important. You'll see some riders already going to the high part of the track trying to maybe find an avenue to attack. It's going to be Astrid again at the front. This is going to be a big move for the young rider in the green for Cannondale. She's trying to lean things out, but coming back in on the counter attack one of her teammates. And it looks like coming up to the front now, that's going to be Annabelle, I believe, making the move. Oh, no, excuse me. That's going to be Zoe Sacchio for Red Truck Racing, making the big move over the top, trying to pick up the first points. It'll be Sacchio and it looks like the second place finisher is going to be Bessler. I know, it's too much. Like, I can't think. I'm thinking about Nick. It's not possible. I cannot announce any of this. No. Masters men's scratch race is upcoming here in just a moment. Masters men's scratch race coming up soon. And we're back to more racing action here as Master Men on the track. 40-lap scratch race, the first race of their Omnium as well. Nice sized field here competing at Burnaby. Seattle competitor Snowblin in the gray bib 118 sneaks out of the way, and another Seattleite. Looks like Mike Robson with that colorful red, white, and blue and those polka dots on his back. Swings to his right. Eric Waterman finds his way to the front.
While this is just rolling, you want to try pushing the buttons to see if they work. I don't know if I'm... You know, do it candidly. Oh, it should be called finish line, right?
What one?
The finish line, called finish line. The other one's front.
No. They're all connected. This is why I didn't want to leave last night.
I feel like you don't know what's wrong until you're in the middle of it, you know?
I could have done more of the setup stuff though. Our first of 3 races before that final points Omnium race goes on. The International Omnium in its first race for the Masters men. Scratch race on track right now. It should be seeing 30 to go, we believe. 29 even. There we go. Got off one in our process over here from the deck. 29 remain as our field continues to take their turns at the front. Vincent Marcotte for Langlois Brown Racing, North Van competitor, takes the front and does begin to put a little pressure on the field. You'll notice a little bit of space being created between some different groups here as the speed is starting to get felt. Dave Miller for Split Mango now finds himself at the front in the black and yellow. Those 7 riders at the front. Everyone else in the chase behind them trying to get back into this quick group. Andy Baker, Broadmoor Capital competitor, wearing the national colors as a national champion of the Masters. In the scratch as he pulls up to the right. The U.S. national champion, I should add. Quickly rotating at the front, maybe a little bit of energy being lost in the front group, allowing a couple of riders that missed that jump earlier to find their way back in on the back end of the field. So things are moving quickly at the front. They have pulled off the pace just a little bit, but riders are still thinking it's necessary to stay down in that sprinter's lane, find a spot, as riders are certainly keeping pace. And here we go again. So a momentary pause, and just depending who's at the front, the pace is certainly going quick here. I think that's Uli Mayer, riding for United Fellow. Does a nice bit of work at the front, and he has shrunk that field at the front from 7 to now a lead group of what looks to be 4. Andy Baker takes a turn at the front. He's made this group, as well as Robson, the first rider that now pulls up and out of the way. The 4 should become 6, perhaps. We'll see if this pace is enough to keep that group small as Uli once again at the front. Marcotte, another rider that made it into that front group. So we've called some of those names quite a bit. You can see who the riders are that showed up here today with quite a bit of endurance. They've got their miles under themselves ready to go. They're ready to apply some distance here. Now the lead group of 6, really the pack on this track. Everybody else is behind them, but still on the same lap. If this lead group of 6 swallows up any other riders, they will be brought down a lap as that occurs. Should be showing 18 to go. So a couple riders are going to soon be finding themselves swallowed by the pack. So you'll see the group of 6 again, our lead group, currently being led by the red, white, and blue of Andy Baker. Pulls up and out to the right, and you see that group of 6 now just about ready to cross over the finish line. That is the front of the race. A couple riders now down the lap. Everybody else in front of them still on the same lap, trying to stay away from those guys. The front 5 positions, of course, the big finishing spots in this race, the big points for the Omnium, all in that group now coming across the line. Baker, Robson, and Miller, the front 3 currently in that group, as you can see them now coming through the second turn and onto the back straight. Bib number 1, Neil Davies, making in that group is for Jubilee Racing, another Vancouver competitor. You recall Uli Mayer, bib number 108 with the white and the white helmet, now currently in second wheel right behind Davies. So those are the riders that have made that gap, that jump, that the distance they need. They've proven themselves battle worthy here today in this scratch race. Having survived those early rounds, they've kind of self-selected themselves as the fast 6. Everyone else behind them either on the lap or having lost a lap at this point. Still Waterman, Snoblin, those 2 riders on the track are still on the same lap as the fast group. As it looks like Snoblin just now being caught by the group. Should be seeing 9 to go. Field coming across the line there. The 6 riders and Snoblin right on their wheel. Again, having lost the lap, the 6 still cruising. 108 Uli at the front. Vincent Marcotte has found himself there in the second wheel, currently at the front of that group, with Baker right behind him now, moving slowly towards the front position as they rotate around. Waterman, the last rider on the lap with the group, is going to be caught here momentarily. So now we have only these 6 on the lead lap for the Omnium. This first of 4 events overall in the International Omnium. Seeing 6 at this stage in the race, getting awfully close to the end here. Only 200-meter laps, things go quick. Getting into the final few laps, this is where the speed is going to really start to be a factor. There's a good chance that the field might actually slow up just a bit at some point in preparation for a sprint, but they also know that they have several more events today in this Omnium, so this is not necessarily going to be the place they're going to put in all of their efforts for today. They've got to save something. So here you go, a little bit more of the track being used up. They're just trying to find their lane in preparation. They know they've made it. There's no reason to worry about anybody else in front or behind them. They're just now worried about the riders in this group of 6. Who's going to finish where? Big move over the top coming out of turn 1, as that's going to be Uli Mayer for United Velo, making a nice acceleration. Coming in now to 2 to go. Next time around, the bell will be ringing. Right on his wheels, Neil Davies in the black. Nice move here, as it's going to be the Langlois Brown race, and Vincent Marcotte on a huge attack. He's got about a 350-meter sprint ahead of him. Andy Baker in the U.S. national colors trying to close. It's still Marcotte on the front trying to get the big points in this first race. Andy Baker now on the close coming out of turn 4. It'll be a nice sprint from Baker. Can he get there? I think Marcotte has him. He has just enough to hold on. Baker comes across the line for the second place in the scratch, and I believe the first attack from Uli Mayer is good enough for third. These risers will have to cool down and warm up again for the second round of the Omnium coming up later. What's up next? Up next, we do have the junior men scratch, the first of their Omnium races. Junior men, you are about ready to go for the first of your Omnium today. Junior men. Just like every other group to start this, we will get this race started on the home stretch of the track. Junior men coming up here shortly. This is the 2020 Northwest Track Challenge. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget we're streaming online. Share it with friends and family if they were not fortunate enough to make the trip into Burnaby today. If you'd like to rewatch some of the racing action afterwards, Burnaby Velodrome's YouTube channel will host those videos. They'll be there for time immemorial, so you can revisit your memories of racing here today or share them after the event is over and let people know what you did. Couple more groups here going through the first of their Omniums. We do have a sprint tournament going on in the background too, so those racers are going to be coming up here in short order. And again, our junior men will be making their way to the home stretch for the start. And it looks like they are starting to get themselves organized and ready to go here. Our junior men's scratch race is on the track, about ready to get started here, as long as we're all set to go. The commissary is making sure that the action is safe and ready to start and all grouped together. Looks like we're still not quite ready to begin. Yeah, because the names keep changing, I keep moving and it keeps defaulting back to the first one, which is the free one. Yeah. This two cam, front straight. Up next, yeah, okay. So we're almost there. And we are off. Sound of the gun. First lap now underway. Another 40 lapper. The last lap is the most important. We saw in that last race, the Masters that had a good sense of it, knew who had some the ability to turn the cranks over a little bit harder for a little longer, try to break things apart a couple laps in, kind of warm up for a little bit, get a feel for it, and then go ahead and go and put in your effort. We'll see how the juniors play this one out. A good size group. Once again, a lot of competitors showing up today for their Omniums. You'll notice some size differences here between some of our riders. This is 15 through 18-year-olds, so younger riders showing up here to compete against some of their older peers. Will Fowler is the early leader. One of our Cannondale competitors, it's Manu Moore, I believe. One Vancouver competitor. Number 243 has made the determination that now is the time to go faster. Why wait? Young and eager, time to move. A little bit of room leaving behind him to the rest of the field. He's got himself a nice little opening here as he looks over his right shoulder, trying to see what's going on behind him. I don't want to give too much information, but it does look like the pack has decided to organize a little bit here. Number 245, Jerry Baker Jr. competitor, Itai Malakoff, does some work to bring the riders back into contention with the leader. And all together we go once again. About 5 laps into this 40-lap event. So that's not an unusual move, and it's not a loss either for Manu. He's getting a sense of what the riders are capable of. He's kind of testing the waters for himself, kind of seeing what the group's willing or not willing to do. If they don't respond, sure, you just get away, and you get a nice free gap there for a while. But forcing the group to chase you is not a bad thing, and it's kind of like asserting a little bit of strength and dominance early. Certainly riders will not be watching him to see if he tries to do anything like that similarly later, now that he's made a move like that. And once again, Will Fowler, one of our younger competitors in the field, finds himself there at the front in the black and blue. Hailing from Bellevue, Washington. That's Evan McBeath. We saw him out here during the sprint tournament earlier as well, so he's double dipping into many different events today. Going to be riding a lot. It's McBeath, bib number 110. Makes room for others around him and pulls up to the right. Itai once again coming to the front. He's being followed by Parker Swanstrom, the Dr. Walker Sports Chiropractor cycling team from Victoria. Using more track space signals to us that we're not really at top speed, and that's the exact time that Manu wants to go ahead and reassert himself. He was the starter of the speed earlier, and at 30 laps to go, we believe we are expecting a little bit of another attack going on here. As Manu starts it, Trevor McFarland for triple shot is willing to join in on the fun. 2 riders. Nice gap here. The field does not seem to be responding in kind just yet. Getting close to a nice 50, 60, 70 meter gap here as they continue to open up a little bit of space for themselves over the last couple of seconds. That last lap, very good for the leaders. As long as you're on the same straight, though, the field can always find themselves reorganizing and going back up there to try to close it down, and that's exactly what they're starting to do. As it's Trevor again in that orange and blue, swings out of the way of the front for his new buddy up there, as Manu in the green. Working together as new teammates on the track. They are benefiting from each other's efforts as long as they continue to work cooperatively like this. Behind them, the field had a moment of anxiety. It seems like it's been dispelled, at least for the moment. Some great junior racers coming out here to compete in Vancouver for this fantastic racing series at the Burnaby Velodrome. Competitors coming in from, of course, around the greater Vancouver area, including Victoria making their way over, Alberta. We've got riders coming up from the Seattle area as well, competing. It'll work. The leaders have put in a nice effort together. Those two, they've paired up for several laps of racing off the front. I think we're going to need a lap count here as we're a little bit off on our system.
Yeah, all of a sudden it went to 15.
So 23, it will be showing 22 now as they come to see the front of the group. Once again, crossing the line.
Skip 10 somehow. I don't know how. Like, it's something like naturally it just happened. I remember being like, how is it 15?
So see, our field is relatively all back together again. One rider will be going down the lap. Otherwise, you see all riders together on the same lap, getting themselves set for the back half of the event now. They've made it through the first half, seeing 20 to go, coming across the line there. 2:44 is Remy Garrison, another one of our riders dipping into the sprints as well in that orange and blue. He's right along the rail. He was waiting for somebody to make a move underneath him, and it'll be Dr. Walker Sports competitor down there in the sprinters lane in the black and white, getting things up to speed. I believe that would be Luke Hubner, another rider that you'll see more from in the sprints as well. At 18 remaining. Riders coming across the line just now. And again, still everybody basically on the same lap. One rider, the casualty of the field. Everybody else still on the same lap. And you can see they're using up more track space. That blue stairs line all the way around the track, signaling the slow lane. A couple riders up there, just making sure that they're using as much track space as possible. Seeing 16 to go at this point. Once again, this is the first of 4 races in an Omnium. You will see the conclusion of that later today. Definitely time to take a little bit of speed off the pedals here. Last couple laps a little bit slower. Time to get some oxygen back in the system. So there's definitely been some nice attacks in the first half. Now we're just resting up a little bit. This doesn't look like rest to us, but in comparison to what we saw a moment ago, this is an opportunity for riders to kind of catch their breath and reset themselves before what should be a pretty fast and furious couple of finishing laps. As we have a large size field like this, there's a ton of impetus for high speed as you get closer to the finish line. Our 2 lanes taking up a little bit more room, as we said earlier. Slower traffic, more space left and right means you have more ways to get to the front when it's time to go. Riding high, providing the benefit of that hill that you can get nice acceleration, come back down into the fast lane quicker. It all works together to make a very smooth racing experience if you can use that upper part of the embankment there. Of course, I'm used to that 400-meter track down south. These hills give you some real quick speed if you really utilize them to their fullest. And at these moderate tempos, you can see riders above the blue line pretty consistently here as we're still awaiting the big attack to set up the finish. Should have been seeing 11 to go there. It was Evan Richardson for Cannondale, momentarily at the front, a rider from Richmond, British Columbia. Anticipation building here. As we know, riders in conservation mode means they're getting ready to unload here shortly. So now you have to be calculating in this field. Do you think you've got the top speed to deal with this whole field, or are you going to try to go a little early? You'll see that Dr. Walker, sports chiropractor Luke Hubner, says, I think the long game might be my benefit here. I'm going to try to spread this thing out a little bit and force riders to cover my speed earlier rather than later. So that's what he's starting to do. You'll already see there's a little bit of a gap starting to form as some riders having trouble holding on to Luke's initial speed. Aiden Crocker moves up to the front momentarily. That's the rider in orange. Seeing 5 to go, we believe. So 5 laps remain. And the speed will be continuing to pick up from here on out as we're kind of downhill to the finish at this point. You will be reminded, of course, that this is a 15 through 18-year-old event. So age does play a pretty big role in these guys' top speed and according, of course, also influencing things like gear restriction. Top speed as, of course, you grow into your age and get a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger. So there is a little bit of an age advantage that plays along with this. So we'll see that split kind of coming up here likely as the top speed resumes, but a moment to catch your breath here actually at 3 to go. Less than a kilo left of racing, and our group has taken their time here getting ready. 2:13 looking around. That's Evan Richardson right along the middle of the track. He moves a little higher. Another Cannondale rider coming to the front at 2 to go, trying to get themselves set on that red bike. And here comes a big attack from Hubner over the top as Mark Sato still holding the sprinter's lane right behind him. Hubner now takes the front position, and he is in an all-out drag race. A nice move. And you've got a nice single aisle formation. Can Mark make an attack here over the right-hand side? Hubner with a very impressive 300-meter effort, and I think it's going to be enough to hold off Sato. It'll be Hubner, our first finisher across the line in that fast finish for the juniors. Next up, our men scratch race. Elite men registered for today's event, the first of their Omnium as well. They're just now getting their pre-race instructions before being brought on track for their first race in the Omnium today. Again, our elite men competitors as registered are getting ready for the scratch race, the first of their Omnium coming up next. See our riders there getting set to go on their ready to go position here on the front straight just before we start their scratch race, getting their final instructions. final pre-race checks here before we get started, making sure we're all set to go and everybody is where they need to be and checked in, ready to start. And the whistle is blown to get this thing started now. Going to be neutraling until they get the gun to signal the official start of the race. Looks to be at least a rider still not in contact with the field, so at least another lap of neutral as we'll get themselves all together. Each field just getting started on their Omnium today. The long event, the Omnium. Every race building towards that exciting finale of the points race later today. Finishing positions, earning points for that points race. So you start with an advantage if you do well in the previous Omniums, but winning this race outright is not worth a medal on its own, not worth a finishing position. Large field here, checking in for this race. In the early goings of what is a 50-lap event. Seeing 46 laps remaining, so still plenty of racing ahead of them. These early laps are a good opportunity just to kind of test things out and see how it feels out here in this field. See who showed up to race today. Especially when you have these events that bring the out-of-towners, there's a level of unfamiliarity sometimes, or just kind of reacquainting one another with your racing style and, of course, your strength and speed on the track. So trying to get a sense for that out here. As one of the out-of-towners, Nolan Adams at the front, makes way for Sherrod Plant, a local. So you'll see, again, a lot of our Seattle area competitors coming in and not as regular competitors here at Burnaby versus the regional favorites, those that are here every week racing in the bubble and competing. So this field can be really fun to watch throughout the weekend. And that's going to be Mayfield riding at the front. I believe they're seeing 42 to go. As Robert Mayfield is putting on a bit of an attack here. Bib 225, getting it up on his gears a bit. Feeling himself early in the race. Why not? Again, this is that opportunity to kind of test the waters. The field is not ready to let anything go. They've still got enough energy and spunk in them to hold on to that one. So number 14, Sage DeLuce of Tag Cycling is the first to make contact. New Westminster competitor in the orange. Team Canada colors, 142. That's Pickrell at the front for a moment. So early in the race, couple laps have gone by. They've seen 39 to go. The first bit we're all together. Now we're starting to get the speed, right? Started first by Mayfield and now continued by other racers that feel like they too can match that tempo. And when you've got a lot of starters on a small track, you want to try to thin the field out. You want to make this competition a little bit more selective. This is where you're being tested if you're in this field and you started today. The question is, do you have what it takes to hold on? If you do, great. You'll get a little bit of a break here in a bit. If you don't, you're going to be gone, shelled and out of the competition. So Now in the fires of that test, most of the riders finding their way back up, a couple feeling the pain. Scott Wanup of Mighty Cycling, one of those riders in the group bib 3, was just making a quick pull there before that previous lap. Again, there's Mayfield, 225. DeLuce, number 14 in the orange. And I think that's Norman Richard, the Just Giver 4PD out of Port Moody here in British Columbia. That's bib 4, another rider that makes it in this group. So only shedding a few riders all that top speed, but it does do its job. It's a little bit more selective to have made it this far. Should have seen 34 to go, we believe, on the last lap. So still plenty of racing, as said. This is a fairly long one, a 50-lap event overall. Seeing 33 that last time. We'll be seeing 32 to go. Yeah. Lucas Strain. All the way up from Portland, Oregon, in the all black, riding independent this weekend, is momentarily at the front. They just saw 30 to go. And got off a lap there for a bit. Wanup again momentarily at the front. As soon as he gets out of the way, the speed really does accelerate nicely, as looks to me like Strain wants to put some pressure on again, the rider in all black. Sherwood Plant, number 40, covering nicely and getting out of the way. DeLuce calling his name quite a bit in that distinctive orange of Tag Cycling. The only in that kit in the field today. And it's Mayfield. As soon as the field sits a little high there, he says, okay, I'll take the lead. Seems to like that kilo effort. A couple of laps of high speed, forcing others to respond. Dylan Davies doesn't seem to mind too much. He'll find his way to the front as well, bib 130. Jay Delaney, running for Lost Boys, is bib number 13. Took a pole on that previous lap and comes back right in the middle of the field. I'm being reminded by my colleague up here on the camera, who also happens to be my wife, that I am not a local. I don't know everybody around here, so if they're mispronouncing anybody's name, do not feel at all intimidated or afraid just to come on up over to the balcony and yell at me for my stupidity and correct me at any time. I am doing my best. But I do want to represent our competitors here as good as I can. We do have riders down in turns 3 and 4. Riders down. Ride high on track, ride high. Yellow flag is being held. Looks like we are neutralizing the action as we're checking in on the collision and keeping riders above the blue currently, it looks like.
Check the laps.
When we take a brief pause in the action, do a quick lap check here. Looks like we're at 19 remaining on the race as it's been temporarily neutralized.
What was it, 20?
This is not the file. It's a thing
It stands.
Again, if you're tuning in online and checking out what's going on, we are currently suspending the race and awaiting a restart on that as a couple of riders going down in turn 3. We are at 19 to go currently. Looks like riders will be getting back in. Riders asked to stay high. A couple of riders coming back on track. One rider, Pickering, the other Cowley. Looks like both coming back into the action here. Okay, looks like our lap card showing 13 remaining. All right, so I guess that means we're at 12 to go. So sort of shortening our race there, as during suspension looks like we've lost a few laps. It'll be Davies at the front for a moment before moving out of the way. Seeing 11 that last time coming across the line. Bib number 40 is Sherwood Plant pulling up and out of the way. Pickering, after taking a bit of a tumble, is back in the action, riding in for Team Canada. Showing 9 to go in this first of several races for the Omnium. Eric Deertens for Cycles West is in the red kit and pulls up and out of the way. Pickering makes room for Cowley, who also pulls up quickly. Very short pulls here at the front as riders are not wanting to commit too much energy to maintain the speed. Pickering will stay in the lane a little bit longer. Pickerel, excuse me. So you'll see these short pulls here. Riders not wanting to overcommit too early. That's a very high move. You'll hear some chatter there as communication is the move is coming. Dylan Davies. Bib 130. Riley Pickerel right on his wheel, so he knows who to try to follow, as Dylan Davies is certainly not unfamiliar with fast finishes and winning races of this sort. Riders around here would know that. He gets marked well, and he finds himself wanting to abandon that effort, get himself back into the middle of the track, the pack here, and reset himself, as it's going to be Mayfield at the front once again. He put in a lot of effort early in the race to kind of test the waters and see what it felt like. Here he is again, taking a full lap at the front. Just saw 3 to go. Mayfield says, no thanks, I'm not going to give this spot up. I'm just going to keep driving this thing at 2 to go. Now you'll see the pack is kind of going to start to bunch up in a little bit of a wedge shape as they start to crowd in on the front rider. And here comes a big attack as we're going to get things going at the bell. It's Pickerel on the move. After hitting the deck, he's back up and sprinting. Right back up again for Team Canada, and away he goes to trying to get the early points. A nice sprint for him. Lucas Strain is making a great attempt to get away from the rest of the field as well. The rider in black, it will be Pickerel for Team Canada, followed by our independent rider in black, Lucas Strain, picking up the early points in the Omnium, the biggest points getters in this first event of 4. Coming up next, the women's sprint tournament semifinals. The second round of action for our competitors coming up in the sprint tournament. 4 riders have survived the craziness of that first round, the quarterfinals, and move into the semifinal round to determine who will race for first and second and who will race for third and fourth. In Heat 1, we have McKenna McKee taking on Astrid Wurr, our first 2 competitors in this round. Heat 2 is the Lily Uchvalusi and Annabella Stoll Danceru. Again, Heat 1, McKee and Wurr. Heat 2, Uchvalusi and Stoll Danceru. Most riders want to get themselves set to go as we're about ready to pop into this semi-final round of the sprint tournament. Our order for the semifinals will go in the same as our earlier quarterfinals. Looks like as we have a few events still upcoming here in the semifinal rounds, it'll be the Master Men up after the women. After Master Men, it'll be our Junior Men, and then we will end with the Elite Men's group. Again, it'll be women first coming up, those 2 heats, followed by Master Men, the Junior Men, and then finally our Elite Men's group. Those will be our semifinals before we jump back into round 2 of the Omni race. That will be the tempos coming up for the Omnium. And the first heat now on the track. It's one race to decide who moves on to the finals to race for first or second. The second place rider in this event will move on to race for third and fourth. So top places are on the line here. Gotta win to advance. Bell's ringing and one to go. First rider across the line, moving on to the ride for gold and silver. McKee, the rider in the second wheel position, has a great spot, and she will take over at the front after hearing the bell, positions herself well, and will move on to race for the top spot. Heat 2 coming on track here shortly. Again, it will be McKee, our rider, advancing. Who will be joining her in the next round? It'll be one of these riders. It'll be Lily Ujfalusi, Annabella Stoll-Dansereau. One of our two in this group will ride against McKenna, the other against Astrid in the next round.
This is the hour, the darkest place, Dante's Inferno, the devil's maze. It's a good world gone bad.
Quick 3-lap event here as the whistle is blown. Lily, the rider in green, on the inside position currently with a slight lead. Again, being at the front is not the automatic victory that you saw in that last race. Being at the front as the bell's ringing means you might just serve as the lead out for a moment as the other rider can accelerate over. So positioning going to play an important role, especially in the later rounds of this tournament. There's the move underneath. It's going to be Annabella making the move in the red jersey as the bell goes. She takes the sprinter's lane quickly coming out of turn 4 with a nice turn of speed. She now sits at the front, just wants to hold off the charge. Can Lily cover? Coming out of turn 4, it's still going to be Annabella at the front. Lily's making some distance here, but not enough and not in time.
It's a good world.
No, it's on a suitcase.
So it will be McKenna and Annabella going head-to-head for the top position in the women's sprint tournament in the finals round happening later today. That will not be during this session. So those riders can take a bit of respite at this point, unless, of course, they're racing in the Omnium, which better get ready to warm up again. This is Heat 1 for the Master Men's semi-final sprint tournament. Now on track, it's Matt Barley, running independent in the black versus John Mayer, the Elite Race Team, in the dark blue. Already trying to find space on the track here as things are getting a little bit tight on that first lap. The riders letting each other know that they are here today to compete. Mayer sitting in the sprinter's lane in that blue. Barley riding alongside of him, and now, swinging around. This is an interesting positional game. Fancy footwork out of turn 4 as our rider in black makes a nice move around, but it's going to be still Mayer trying to recover after that quick turn out of turn 4, but it just looks like it's going to be Barley closing down and finishing. Our Victoria competitor takes the heat. Bushler and Davies make up Heat 2, and they're coming on track here momentarily. They'll be our last heat before we carry forward to the junior men sprint tournament. Semifinal round. Prestige Cycles from North Vancouver. It's Mark Butchler at the front of this group currently. 117. Neil Davies is riding in that beautiful number 1. About a bike length and a half off. Maybe a couple here as they're getting into the first lap. Davies starting to accelerate a little bit here, and he's got that inside line covered. What he's doing by looking over the right-hand shoulder is just marking when the move would come. No move comes before he wants to accelerate, so he'll just come up to speed as the bell is ringing. These two should be pretty closely matched. Good positional advantage right now to Davies. Can he hold on? Butchler's trying to close in, and he's having a hard time doing so. And it does look like it'll be Davies finding the finish here. Evan Macbeth and Ben Rackness. Round 1 here, or excuse me, round 2 really, of their sprint tournament life here. As we're in the semifinal round, this is Heat 1. On deck is Heat 2 of Remy Garrison and Aiden Crocker. They're coming up here momentarily. The Vancouver competitor in second position right now in the green, challenged by one of our Seattle area competitors coming from Sammamish, Washington. That's Ben Rackness in the black and blue. Only one rider gets to continue to work towards first and second place in the final round. We'll see which of them moves in that direction. Still Rackness leading things out currently. Evan still on the wheel, leaving a little bit of a run up. He's going to try to use that back half of the track here to try to close in and come over the top. It's now going to be a side-by-side here shortly, unless Ben can hold it off, and he's able to do so. Coming through turns 3 and 4, he's got enough finishing speed that Evan found no way to get around the top of him. Nice finishing speed there. Heat 2, Remy Garrison and Aiden Crocker going head-to-head. See who will be joining Rackness in the final round for first and second out of this group. After this, the Elite Men semifinals sprint. Then I'm sure just a moment to catch our breath before we go into the last series of races in this session. We're going to be doing a host of races for the second in the International Omnium. That'll be the tempo races upcoming for each of those groups. In the orange tag cycling race team is Aiden Crocker, who starts in the outside lane. Garrison Remy, triple shot. Both riding out of Victoria, British Columbia. Our junior men competitors here, eyeing each other carefully. Don't want to lose track of where your competitor is if you're at the front. You're close to the finish line, but it's also your responsibility to keep track of your opponent behind you. And it's the fun of the rider in second position to be able to dance around behind you and kind of play some games with you. Maybe go underneath a little bit, maybe fake the move around the top, whatever feels right at the moment. So currently, still Remy, 244 in the lead. Using the rail to get up to speed and trying to give them as much elevation as they can when it's time to make the move. A nice run up to the back wheel, and Remy didn't quite catch it in time. Aiden Crocker is gone. He caught him sleeping. A nice move up onto his rear wheel, and now a big onus on Remy. Can he close that gap down? He only has about 60 meters left to do it. And it will be Aiden Crocker with a nice read there, found his moment, and launched the attack. We'll see Crocker and Rackness head-to-head for the first and second place in the finals. Garrison and Macbeth are two riders for third and fourth later today. And it will be our first heat of two for the Elite Men's Sprint Tournament. This is the semifinal round, and the last of our semifinal rounds here. We have two heats left to go. As the Elite Men have Carlberg on track in the front position currently. Bib 104 for Split and Mango is Guy McClintock. Carlberg with the top speed advantage from earlier today, as he showed a sub 11 in that time trial that was used to qualify, so quick finishing speed. But McClintock showing he's got a ton of speed of his own on display today. The timing and the position of this attack going to be really key here. In fact, Guy now starting to kind of bring it up to speed pretty early. He's going to guard the inside. Now he swings up a little bit, looking over left shoulder, says, come on, try to go, try to go. As he does, he takes back the lane, now forces Carlberg to be on his wheel, which he says, all right, I'll just get another acceleration. McClintock trying to hold off the charge, but Carlberg coming in for the finishing touch, and Carlberg with just enough to inch it out. Coming into the finish, he had to put a little bit more acceleration there to manage, but he manages well.
Yeah, if he would have attempted to go under the slam.
That's what I was thinking he was trying to do over there, and then he just kind of... Coming up next, our final heat of the semifinal round for today. It will be Michael Go and Tyler Davies to see who will be taking on Andrew Carlberg for first and second later on today, and who will be facing Guy McClintock for third and fourth in our final round. Will be Michael Go, our Alberta competitor, on the inside lane. Davies is close to the rail on the outside. Our Vancouver competitor getting set to go. And the race is good here in Vancouver. We're in our final heat in this sprint tournament of the semifinal round. In tonight's evening session, we'll conclude this fantastic sprint tournament with those final rounds. Those will go to best of threes, so riders will get more than one chance to face one another to determine what the final standings will be. This just the best of one. One chance to move up into that ride for first and second. Michael Go, the rider in the blue, white, and with a little bit of yellow highlights going on there on his kit, is leading and starting to accelerate things. He's kind of testing, asking the question, can you cover me up here at the front? And Davey says, sure, I'll do that, and I'll take the lead. Now Michael Go's got his position right on the rear wheel. This could be very dangerous for Tyler, but he's going to just hold it off. He's going to try to do the straight-up drag race all the way around the track. Top speed is the only question now. Does Davies have enough top speed? Michael Go's trying to challenge him, and Davies with enough speed to finish. Tyler Davies will face off against Andrew Karlberg, a matchup I've watched more than once down in Seattle at our track. And they'll be well familiar with each other. They're going to be going first and second place, so they'll be their fight to have tonight for the final round. And we'll see Michael Go and Guy McClintock for the third and fourth place competition later on as well. Elite women, or the women tempo race. Just a brief moment of pause here. Again, thanks for everybody who's been tuning in online to check in the racing action. And of course, for those of you that are hanging out with us today, our Saturday started off fast and furious with our 200-meter qualifiers. We've had a sprint tournament ongoing, and of course, the Omnium race, which will be continuing here shortly. The International Omnium, a 4-part event, has part 2 upcoming, the Tempo. Our first group of women are already starting to move around on that infield, getting themselves ready to go. Again, our Tempo upcoming for the Omnium for all of our fields that have registered to race for that today. After the Omnium second round is completed, we will be taking a pause between sessions as our first session will be coming to a close here at the end of that last Tempo race. you're sitting around, don't have much to do right now, we encourage you to take out your smart device and make sure to head over to YouTube real quick and just give Burnaby Velodrome a quick subscribe. It'll encourage them to keep making great content and supporting the racers here by getting up videos and getting that information out. So your subscription will help support Burnaby Velodrome. You can head there by heading to YouTube right now, search bar, just type in Burnaby Velodrome, click that live video, give it a thumbs up, share it somewhere, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you get notifications of when anything else is posted or if Burnaby Velodrome is going live at any time. That would certainly help out our friends here at Burnaby. We'll be back with racing here shortly as we're getting set to go with the next series of races. Again, the second race of the Omnium, the Tempo, coming up soon. And the racing is getting started here. We'll get it started officially with the sound of the gun as soon as our group is set to go. Currently in the neutral.
And I don't know how many laps it is per point. They might not. I just say wait until they show up. I do not. It's different.
This 25-lap event now just getting started. Couple laps here of sort of like I guess a prelude to the action, as right now there's no points to the front runners in the race, but this is basically a points race. We're looking only at the front riders coming across the line. Once we start taking points, those points will be updated live thanks to our live timing. Oh, now I've missed it up. Our friends online. You can check it out right now on the stream as we've got the browser picked up right there. You can see those points as they come across the screen. And keep up to date about who's in the lead. I'll also try to announce that across over the speakers here so you can get a sense of who's where in the standings. These early laps, just again, the setup before the action gets underway. Starting to pick up pace here in anticipation. And there is our bell. That's just letting us know that now, from here on out, we're given points. So next time across the line, we'll start looking for those points to start being awarded.
Every other this track. Is it every other? It could be. See if they ring the bell. If it's every other. The elimination's every other.
Samantha Hargraves, our first points getter. Bib 317. Currently in the early lead, in the early goings. The tempo race, rewarding efforts every lap, of course. You got to stay pretty quick to be at the front of the race to find that point.
Oh, there it is. Oh, sprint one.
So in the last sprint there, it was Claire Cameron finding a point. Now Lily Ujafalusi has found one, so 3 riders with 1 point apiece. And the tie for the lead. Just taking their turns at the front, trying to find their sprint at just the right time to make it to the line. And it looks like that's going to be Lily again. She's riding that green for Cannondale, presented by Fortius. Now sitting with 2 in the early goings of this one. Still plenty of time for this one to unravel. Basically a 20-lap tempo once it's all said and done, thanks to the prelude of those couple of neutral laps, you could almost call them, as they're counting down the laps, but no points earned. 3 sprints won for Lily. She's got the lead with 3. Couple riders feeling the pain there at the back end, but it looks like it'll be Claire Cameron coming to the front for that one on that 6th sprint. It'll be 2 points to her in second, followed by Samantha Hargraves, the winner of the first sprint, with 1. Looks like Claire's going to sit at the front for a few more laps to try to pick up the points while they're available. Why not? Team Instafun moves up into a tie for first. Claire Cameron wins another. 3 points to the 2 leaders. Oh, trying to challenge here. Just enough speed around the outside. I think that's Zoe, if I'm not mistaken. Sacchio finding a point that time. Indeed, that is. So 2 riders with 1 point apiece, Sacchio and Hargraves. Stoldanceru, I believe, now moving in to pick up her first point. That's a 3-way tie, 1 point apiece to those 3 riders. Leaving a bit of a gap here, though. Look at the opening she's created. So Stoldanceru, just looking for that chance to go, is going to go ahead and apply some serious pressure on the pedals. Time to move. 2 sprints in a row. Now sitting in third place, with 2 points. Still chasing the leaders, but she's about to find herself in a tie now for the lead with 3 points. And here comes Danceru one more time. Still Danceru for her 4th sprint, and now the lone lead. It's only going to get worse from here if the field cannot find their way back up there. It's good night for this race, as now Annabella just starting to put on a nice clinic in the solo effort. Looking very consistent, really in a nice tempo right now, as this race will reward riders that can find that, of course. Stay away from the rest of the field and get some points while you can. Now up to 5. Our lone leader, Claire Cameron and Lily Ujfalusi, are in a tie for 3rd with 3 points apiece. 6 points to our leader now. She continues to add, and she will do so for every lap until this field can get back to her. Seven points to the leader, and still a nice gap for her. She will continue to add. She takes no prisoners today in the tempo. Unquestionably demonstrating endurance strength here in this event. A couple riders going down the lap and losing their points. They lose 20 as they lose the lap, but it'll still be our eyes on Annabella for 8 points now as she continues to add to her totals as we're getting much closer to the end of this race. If only a few laps remaining, as she'll find another, putting her up to 9. Other points all remain the same except for those that were lapped. What may happen if the field can get their energy together here is they could catch and maybe fight over the second place, whereas it is right now. Claire Cameron and Lily Ujfalusi are tied with 3 apiece, and their finishing position will break the tie on the final sprint. That'll be for second, as there's no way with the number of laps remaining that Annabella can lose. I believe, sitting here now with 11 points. The field's starting to pick up speed a little bit. I think they're trying to time it so they can get some points at the end here. Maybe we'll see one of our riders without points work to the front, as it's Micaiah Bessler, currently with 0, getting awfully close to the leader. She wants to find at least a point, move up in a couple positions. Why not? Red truck's right there, though. That's going to be Zoe Sacchio also wanting to hold off and not let anybody else take over her currently 4th place position. Our leader and winner of this race is already kind of backpedaling at this point. No need to fight over this one. Bessler, and it will be Bessler on the inside. A rider that had 0 before now just jumps up into 4th place, finishing with that single point, breaking the tie with Zoe Sacchio. And then I'll have to double check in our final results is between Claire Cameron and Lily Ujfalusi, who finished in front in that final sprint. And that'll do it for the women in this session, actually. They're going to be getting off track here shortly, and our next group, the Masters men, will be coming up for their race very soon.
I'm so good at pretending. Keep on smiling in my tiny bubble, like a movie without ending. Spending time like it was going backwards. Bruises covering my walls, but they fall down. Diving deeper in the books that we read blind. Breathing in and breathing out to get smarter. Not working out for me, yeah. Got no money on my mind. Tell my mommy I'm alright. Even laughing at the jokes you tell me. Keep myself inside the lines. Needing tidy all the time. If you ask me, I am fine. Got no money on my mind. Repeating patterns like the others. Meditation through the yoga lessons. Going greener by the minute. Soon I can't wear any other colors. Bruises covering my walls, but they fall down. Diving deeper in the books that we read blind. Breathing in and breathing out to get smarter. Not working out for me, yeah. Got no money on my mind. Tell my mommy I'm alright. Even laughing at the jokes you tell me. Keep myself inside the lines. Needing tidy all the time. If you ask me, I am fine. Got no money on my mind.
Looks like we're kind of reorganizing ourselves based on our current Omnium standings to a certain degree here, kind of reshuffling folks. And we're just about set to go here. This, of course, is the Burnaby Velodrome's 2020 Northwest Track Challenge going on here this weekend. That's your challenge. Annual event here up in Burnaby Velodrome. The Northwest Challenge, of course, the Western Challenge, excuse me, is the is host of some great racing all weekend long. So you can keep tuning in for more as we work our way through the rest of this, our Saturday morning session. Started the day off with some sprint qualifiers, and we now are watching the final little bit here of racing in this bunch before we take a short break. This will be our second of 4 tempo races. Rules will be very similar to what you saw just a moment ago. And the race is already underway. A couple laps before you'll hear a bell. So you'll see this field is going to spend a little bit more energy early. They know they've got a lot of competitors. You might as well make it hurt from the get-go. Points not coming out yet, so you'll see currently 0 across the board if you're checking on the online stream, or of course you'll notice that the bell hasn't rung yet, so nothing getting awarded on these early laps except for some pain being distributed.
Go to this. Can you put it to the home stretch cam on the 2-cam one? And then go back. You know what I mean? So put the 2-cam with the home stretch.
There's the bell. Next lap will be the first point given to the lead rider from here on out.
Does that make sense? And I guess I'm not going to do it right now. We'll run down before the next one.
First point awarded. Ross Wilson, our early race leader, winning 2 in a row now, our rider in the lead. Looks to be a tie currently at the top. It'll be Wilson and Baker tying things up at 2 apiece. I believe that's going to be Miller sliding in for his first. So Dave Miller now finds himself in 3rd place with 1. A tie for first. Now a 3-way tie between Miller, Wilson, and Baker, all with 2 points. David Miller, nice and consistent for a couple laps, does find his way to the top of the leaderboards as of right now. He'll do a little bit more damage before he's done, though. Now sitting at 4 points. A tie for second between Baker and Wilson. Underneath him, 2 apiece to those 2 riders. Everybody else sitting at 0. Miller taking another one here, so the field okay with these early points. A lot of laps to still go. That should be Miller's lead with 5 now. Wearing the U.S. National Champions colors, Andy Baker finding a point and finds himself now alone in second with 3. Our leader, David Miller, for Split Mango Racing, is in the black and yellow and has found himself back about 5 wheels or so. So he's resting after that solo effort, giving Andy Baker his opportunity. Baker can find another. He'll be in a tie for the lead, but it will not be Baker. It'll be on the outside. Uli Mayer making his way into the competition here, finding his first point. That's bib number 108, the white and blue kid out there. Finds another point, now in a tie for third with two points. Now alone in third place with 2, as our other rider with 2 points finds himself down a lap, dropping 20 points in the process. Willie Mayer not giving up the lead position after a couple laps, now finds himself with 3, sitting in third. Looks like Mayer picked up the last lap, moving up to 4 points, while Baker picked up that one, moving up to 5. A tie at the top between Miller and Baker now. 5 points apiece. Uli Mayer, having picked up some points, has moved himself back a ways a little bit now, but he's still sitting in third. Our leader now, Andy Baker with 6 points, David Miller with 5, Uli Mayer with 3. Those will be our top 3 as it currently stands. Uli moving up to find 4. Here comes Andy Baker again, trying to add to his lead, now up to 7. The next closest rider to him in points is David Miller. He's at the back of that lead group that's at the front of the race, currently being led around by Baker. It'll be Baker to find another, bring it up to 8. So again, the rider in black and yellow for Split Mango is in second with 5, and he's at the tail end of that field. If he wants to find a point, he'll have to eventually move his way forward. Uli Mayer, bib 108 for United Velo, is sitting in third with 4 points. He's been very active in this race as well. Andy Baker doing a nice job here, just kind of leading this lead group, and nobody else wanting to take it from him just yet. He'll take 9 on his leaderboards now. Mike Robson going to move in for 10-Speed Hero, the rider in the red, white, and blue with those polka dots on the back, finds his first point on this 20-second sprint. moving into 4th place. You'll see the group just now coming across the finish line is actually off the back of the field. Robson is off the front of the field, and there comes our main group now. So Robson finds the 2nd point on the lone attack. 10-speed hero trying to be show some heroism today, a heroic act getting away from the field. He might be catching the back group now. So these riders are the ones off the back of the field. Robson does find another point in that sprint. He's now sitting at 3 in 4th place. Robson gets scored again. Currently moves into 3rd place in a tie with Mayer, both with 4 points. And Robson should be able to find another. The field looks like they'll be catching fairly quickly here, in which case they're going to knock those 5 riders down 20 points. Robson still off the front, finds 5. Nice move here from Mike. Good patience to wait for this moment in the race where he felt like he had a good time to go, following that wheel of Baker before launching his own attack. He now sits in 2nd place alone with 6 points. It's going to be Andrew Baker in the lead with 9. Mike Robson 2nd with 6. Dave Miller is in 3rd with 5 points. Uli Mayer in 4th with 4. Everybody else with 0 or less as our field gets lapped. This is Mike Robson now with 7, but look who's trying to get his way back up there. The national colors starting to lead things up. Rotating around in that field. Looks like they're getting ready to catch if they can. A couple riders doing more work than the others. Not a surprise. It's the riders with points that want to keep their position safe. Mike Robson, he's knocking on the door. He's got 8. The leader with 9. This will be good enough for a tie of the lead as the race currently stands. Coming into the final 10 laps of this one, I believe. A tie in the lead right now between Robson and Baker, but this is where Robson gets caught, and now we're going to start to see other competitors in that field begin to work their way into the competition. The first point from Vincent Marcotte. Langlois Brown Racing finds himself now in 5th with 1 point. Our leaders, Baker and Robson. Uli Mayer finds another point. Now finding himself in a tie for 3rd. 5 points apiece to both David Miller and Uli Mayer. Back to Vincent. Marcotte's starting to work his way up a little bit. He's defending his, he worked him from 0 on these last couple laps, and now he finds himself with a couple. Uli Mayer with 6 is alone in 3rd. Both Robson and Baker in a tie for the lead with 9 apiece. Uli again, I believe. Vincent Marcotte, excuse me, number 18, I believe, getting it there. The bell's ringing, and our final lap undergoing here. The leader is 108. That's Uli Mayer, who's been picking up the last couple points. He's in 3rd place now with 8. If he can find another, he moves into 1st. Can someone change up the finishing order? It doesn't look like they're going to get there in time. 108, holding on. Unofficially grabbing those last couple of sprints. If I'm not mistaken, enough for Uli to pick up his 9th point. Which I believe puts us in a 3-way tie for 1st place, which will be broken only based on finishing positions, which should give Uli the last attacker there and gives the finish on that race. With Robson and Baker, I believe it's going to be Baker in 2nd, Robson 3rd. That's unofficial. We'll wait for the posting of that information at a later time. Great racing for our Masters competitors in that tempo race. Up next, we have junior men's tempo race, their second race in the Omnium, and our second to last race of the session. They'll be followed by the elite men, our last race before we'll take a short break. Again, upcoming, our junior men for the tempo. Tyler, nice to see you, man. And you can see our riders getting set to go here in, again, what will be another tempo race. They'll have a couple laps of racing before we count the points. As you've seen before, same kind of rules. Ties broken at the end if there are any, like there were in the last race, a three-way tie at the top. We'll see how our junior men compete. The last group will be up next, will be the elite men before our break. And the field getting rolling here. We'll hear the sound of the gun as soon as we're ready to officially start the race. And do remember, we get excited by these finishes, but do remember this is just one piece of a larger puzzle. Many races put together before we get to the exciting finish, which will be a points race at the end of the International Omnium. Do well early, and you have a head start in that race. You'll start with a certain number of points based on how you finish in these previous races. And that is a signal that we are racing. 5 laps out from now, we'll hear that bell, and that will remind us that the riders are competing for a point at the front of the field. You saw in that last group, the first 5 were not rest laps by any stretch of the imagination. Our juniors opting for a little bit of a slower pace to start this race off. They're going to wait for the points. A 40-lap event is plenty long. Let's wait a little bit before we get this thing going, is what the group think on this one is. The hive mind has decided. Mark Sato sitting at the front of the field, and I will say sitting is right now not having to push too hard to stay in that position. The field bunching up behind him and getting ready for the real start here. very much so. Hearing the bell soon here. It's just getting themselves ready to go. Who's going to grab the early lead here? That's number 213 coming to the front, Evan Richardson. Plenty of riders for that Cannondale team. Young riders wearing the bright green here today. Cannondale presented by Fortius. And that bell signifies lap 1 of the points is now underway. First sprint. Number 49 is Alan Foslogic. I'm not sure of that one. Triple shot racer either way. Will be our early leader. Someone's going to correct me on that pronunciation, and I will appreciate it. Alan is on the move, though, trying to get 2 in a row. Why not? See if he can get a little bit of early dominance here before sitting back into the group. Sitting with 2 points, he will abandon and get back in there. Richardson back at the front. A teammate, though not a teammate really at the track. As apparent by that move there to nip at the line. Be Mark Sato taking the third sprint, now in second place with 1 point. Our leader with 2 is not currently near the front and looking for another point yet. That's going to be Mark going double dipping there, getting 2 in a row, now in a tie for first. Bib 205 in the green. Aiden Crocker taking the lead away from him now. The rider in orange will work his way towards the front and take the sprinter's lane to find the first sprint. He now finds himself in third with 1. Single file line right behind him is it's going to be 3 riders all with the same points total. Luke Hubner. Excuse me, Aiden Crocker there finding another. Mark Sato alone in the lead with 3 points after picking up the last one. There's Hubner finding his way to the front for his first point. And he's going to hold on for another. So we've got 1 rider with 3. That's Mark Sato for 3 points. Hubner, Crocker, and Foslogic are all sitting in second with 2 points apiece. 4 riders with points. Everybody else looking for their first. Oh, a nice effort here by Hubner to try to hold on, but it will not be enough. That looked to me to be bib 110, Evan of Cannondale, picking up his first point. Maybe a second one here, which will be good enough to be in that tie for second. He joins the other 2 riders, Crocker and Foslogic, with 2 points. Luke Hubner finds himself currently in 5th with up single point. Mark Sato still in the lead with 3. And that's going to be Mark Sato with a dark black helmet moving up the right-hand side, and he's not seen by anybody else. He's able to get all the way up to the front. I think he found the point, adding to his lead, making it 4. The one on the right, yeah. Now we have a leader of Mark Sato with 4 points. In second place with 3 is Hubner. Good fight at the front here. Our Cannondale riders kind of going back and forth with each other. It looks like that's going to be Evan cutting another point. That moves him into second, a tie for second with 3 points. Our leader is still Sato, the rider in green with the black helmet. He's further back in the field right now. He's getting ready for his next attack. That might be another Dr. Walker Sports chiropractor rider. 47 is going to be Swanstrom getting his first point. That's good enough for 6th right now. Now he too is getting a little bit away from the field. A couple bike lengths now separate him and the chasing riders. He gets 2. This field is spread pretty thin on the points. A lot of riders with some points, and nobody's got a big pile yet. This is Aiden Crocker in that orange, trying to find more. That puts him up to 3 in a tie for second place with 2 other riders. So 3 riders with 3 apiece is Hubner, Crocker, and Macbeth. Our leader, Sato, with 4, is moving closer to the front. He's about to be in a tie for first, though, as Crocker moves up to 4 points. The field practically all together here. They've lapped one and lost a few along the way, but most riders are all right here still, competing lap after lap. And there's Mark Sato. He says, I want the lead back again. As soon as he loses it, he moves up to the front and nips another. He's got 5. Aiden Crocker with 4 sitting in second. Hubner and McBeath in third in a tie with 3 apiece. Swanstrom and Foslogic both still have 2. This is very back and forth here. The juniors have just taken one punch after another, back and forth. Now it's going to be a turn for Hubner to get back into the spring of things here. He picks up a point, moves up into a tie for second with Crocker. He's got 4 points. He'll be 5 now in a tie for the lead. Again, everybody's just about a point apart. So whoever wins a sprint is often going to be moving up into the top 3 positions pretty quickly. 46, Luke Hubner now on his dire push here, trying to hold on and get a couple more in a row. He's now going to move up to 6. Mark Sato now moves into second place. He's not going to be happy with that. Look for him to make a move soon. In third, Aiden Crocker with 4 points. In fourth, Evan McBeath with 3. Hubner is trying to hold on, and indeed, that's what he needs. As soon as Sato's not in the lead, he says, I got to change that. Rider in the black helmet, nice turn of speed, right to the line, enough to find it. Should put him in a tie for first again. About 10 more sprints to go here, and our leaders with 6 points apiece. A new challenger coming up and around the corner here. As Remy Garrison finds his way onto the leaderboards with his first sprint in his first point. That's the rider in the black and orange. He starts to settle back into the field a little bit, as now it'll be Aiden Crocker for Tag Cycling, trying to keep things rolling, and finds another point here late in the race. Crocker now with 5 is sitting in third, a tie at the top between Sato and Hubner with 6 apiece. It's going to be Crocker leading it out again. Can he get it? I think he held on pretty close to the line as Cannondale was charging down. Three riders with 6 points apiece. It will be again Crocker this lap taking another. He now finds himself in the lead. That's bib number 48 in the orange. Second wheel right now with that white helmet, orange and black kid is in the lead with 7. But don't rest yet. Hubner is coming in and takes the lead back and ties it up at 7 apiece between him and Crocker. It is unending here in the juniors and how back and forth this one is going. Hubner takes another and is now alone at top with 8. 7 for Crocker in second. Sato has got third place wrapped up with 6 right now. McBeath with 3 points. Swanstrom with 2. Foslogic with 2. One sec. Evan McBeath picks up another point. He's got 4 now. Okay. I'll check. I'll know who to talk to though. Thank you very much. Where are you going to be? Okay. Thank you. Evan McBeath doing some work here later into the race, trying to find some more points. He moves up to 6 points now. Good for a tie for third with Mark Sato, one of our earlier race leaders. It's Aiden Crocker still in second with 7, and our leader, Luke Hubner, trying to find another. He's going to go from 8 to 9 there, I believe, after that sprint. Holding on to the lone lead. Nice move around the outside. That's Aiden Crocker trying to close this thing down and get the last couple of points. He's going to just go for an all-out sprint now. Crocker on the move. If he gets this one, he wins the race, but it's not going to be the case if Parker Swanstrom can take it away from him. It'll be Swanstrom taking the last point. That's going to mean Luke Hubner's lead is defended while Swanstrom picks up a late point. Crocker will end up in second place after that's all said and done in this event. McBeath, I believe, overall will be finding the third place unofficially, depending on how he finished ahead of Mark Sato. Dentro. Duluth. Grazie.
Yeah.
Dentro.
Yeah, no, I was trying to like get it so that like you solve the point.
Yeah.
And then like switch it.
Might as well. We have the technology. What straight is this with you? Dan? Coming in next, the last race of this session. We've got one more tempo race to go. You've seen 3 of them already, one more to watch. Upcoming here shortly, the Elite Men for their tempo, the final race of the session. This will be their second race in their Omnium, working towards the conclusion of that later today. Stick around for more racing. We are just about finished up with this first session on Saturday for the Western Track Challenge here at Burnaby Velodrome. Alex Brewer, CBS Cycling. Alex. You can see our riders getting set here. Again, making sure our order is set. Commissary's doing a good job of getting the pre-race instructions and setting everybody up for a successful race. And we'll get them started as soon as all that information has been given.
Honestly, like, you need somebody to run the camera just to, like, know what to use the switching point. Like, doing it so hard. Mari, get back up here.
I know,
Yeah.
like it does take a computer person. You need camera crew,
Yeah, you need 3 people at least.
which is tight on that deck, honestly. You know, I was actually thinking kind of hip is if we put a little extension of the deck out, covered behind there, like a backdrop.
There you go.
The deck interface. So it's like actually talk to the crowd. Kind of hip. I don't have enough cameras to do it.
You just had Tyler on it.
And the whistle says we're about ready to start this thing. Still showing on our live results, the previous races. They're just finalizing that information, but currently on track is the Elite Men, the final event again for our first session, and they're in the neutral. Has no signal to start yet. As you've seen in all those previous events, a couple laps to get things started, 5 to be more precise, and then after that it's 1 point to the leader every single lap until the end. And there we go. Bang, bang, and the race is starting. Couple more laps of this where riders just testing out how it's going, getting used to each other one more time, and then we'll get that bell, letting everybody know it's time to go for some points. No reason you couldn't attack now, though. Maybe get yourself set up ahead of the field, but not a common strategy. That's great. Dylan Davies is the rider taking that early impetus now, along with Sherwood Plant. I saw Davies off the front first, Plant right with him. Wearing the same kit. They're out there working cooperatively at the moment, trying to put some paint on the rest of this field. Might as well make it hurt early for this first point. It looks like Dylan Davies is on his way to pick up the early lead. As he looks over his shoulder to confirm if anybody else is coming, no one's on their way. Sherwood Plant is still in second wheel, as Davies will not arrest that position to anybody else just yet. He says, this is mine, as long as I can hold on to it. Oh, I'm not sure actually from over here. Looked like it was a good acceleration there. Either Riley or Dylan picking up that one. I think they're confirming it on the infield as well. That should be a point to 221, Alex Brewer. It will go to Riley on that second sprint. Our race leader now is Alex Brewer, the rider in black who just swung out of the way. 2 riders with 1 apiece. It's going to be Pickrell and Davies. 2 points for our current leader, Alex Brewer. Yes, I think so. Lucas Strain finds his way up there for a single point. Moves into a tie for second. In the early goings, the lead will change frequently and rapidly here, likely as the speed is up and going now. Lucas Strain finds his second. Sitting atop the leaderboards alongside of Brewer. They both have 2 points. They're both riding in a black kit today. The Strain rides his way back into the field a bit. That's going to be Riley again coming to the front, it looks like. Picking up another point and also joining the top of the leaderboards with 2 points. Jay Delaney, I believe, would be the rider there that picks that one up. Indeed it is. Number 13, riding for Lost Boys. He will find a second if he can hold on to the counterattack here. Not sure. I'm going to give it to the inside from over here, but I'm pretty far away from that finish. Delaney's trying to hold on. It will be Delaney finding his second. 4 riders with 2 points apiece. Nice move from Brewer from the middle of the field to come back up to the front. He leaves a couple bike links between him and the field, and he is not letting up the gas. He's going to keep pushing it for now. He's got that neon helmet sticking out from the rest of the crowd. Big gap opened up. He's clearly got this one wrapped up. Brewer will now be on his own, both on the track and in the points. He's got 4 in the lead. 3 riders with 2. Delaney, Strain, and Pickrell. 1 rider with 1 is Dylan Davies. Brewer finds another. Should be with 5 now. The next closest rider to him on the track is number 14 in orange. That's Sage Deleuze. Starting to close in on the distance. 7 points for Alex Brewer, our current race leader. He's been out here alone, and it's time to change it up, says Lucas Strain. Big attack. Can he get there in time? It looks well like he will. Boom, he picks it up. Nice move by Lucas all the way out of almost turn 1, starting that acceleration. He closed that gap down real quick. Might as well roll with it. Don't waste your energy. As Lucas Strain is on his way to try to find 2 in a row. He finds it. We'll give him 4 points overall now. That's going to be number 225, Robert Mayfield, that follows his lead and says, sure, Lucas, we can go. But Mayfield, he loves these longer efforts. So if he finds himself off the front like this is his place to go. And he's going to try to put a lot of energy out right now if he can. I've seen this before. The tempo's got his name written all over it. As long as he can get away from the field a little bit, let's see if he can get some points here. Mayfield tries to pick up another. He does just that. Our leader still, Brewer with 7, Lucas Strain with 4. In third place, there's a tie between Delaney, Pickrell, and Mayfield. Here comes Pickrell now, who's found his way back to the front after responding to Mayfield's move. He says, I like the looks of this. Time to get back in this thing. So Pickrell finds another point. He's now in third with 3. Our race leader, Alex Brewer, is at the front of the main pack right now. His black kit, neon-colored helmet, starting to do some work to try to get back into the front. He does not like seeing these 2 riders getting away from him. Pickrell picking up another. That should move him to 4. And a tie for second now with Lucas Strain. They both have 4 points. Mayfield is working his way up nicely here. He's going to likely pick up another. You'll notice these riders are not sprinting against each other because their teamwork is more important to them. They know they'll get more points for working cooperatively. As Mayfield finds another, he gets up to 4, I believe. good currently for a tie for third now, as many riders with 4 points. Pickerel might be finding another here. That'll move him up into second with 5. Our leader, Alex Brewer, happy to see that the leaders have been caught, but he's actually a little bit off the back of the pace. Brewer 7, Pickerel 5, Strain and Mayfield 4. Here comes another attack, and this time Lucas Strain moves himself up through the sidelines there in the field. I believe he'll find it. That looks to be Rob Mayfield again. He's not done. He's just going to keep motoring for those points. And it will be Mayfield moving his way up there. So Brewer with 7. Now 3 riders with 5 points apiece. We keep trading it off. It's Lucas Strain, Riley Pickerel, and Rob Mayfield. Haven't called his name yet. Just give her 4 PD rider Norman Richard. Number 4 comes up to pick up his first, I believe. Indeed, he does. Sherwood Plant finds a point there, number 40, joining 2 other riders with only 1 point to their name yet. Pickerel, that's another for him. He should move alone into second place now with 6 points. Red Truck Racing at the front of the field. Bib 142 trying to find the lead for the first time in this race so far, and he will now be in a tie for it with Brewer. Brewer finds himself still in the main field, so he's still in contention. He has not gotten a sprint in many laps now, so he's trying to recover and get ready for some more efforts later, perhaps. As Pickerel has now found himself in a tie for the lead with him. Mayfield, never giving up. The constant effort from him. Whenever there's a slowing, he's just going to push off the front. 6 points for Rob. Maybe another here. That'll make it 7. There's 3 riders all tied at the top of the race. Mayfield, Brewer, and Pickerel. Lucas Strain is sitting right there with 5. Nipping at their heels. Only 2 points off the leaders. And here he comes, our earlier race leader, finally, Alex Brewer. Like I said, wanted to just rest a little bit. He needed his time to recover, but he's got plenty more racing to go, and he can get another point here, and he does. He's in the lone lead with 8. That's the rider in black with that neon kit. He goes, or neon helmet, excuse me. He goes all the way to the back of the lead group after that sprint. So I believe that was Dylan Davies moving to the front, bib 130. The rider who got the very first sprint gets back into it and now has 2 points. We have a rider currently up the front here. It looks like that's going to be Norman Richard at the lead of the field. My mistake. Bib number 4 is the leader of the group. Our leader still Alex Brewer with 8 points. Here comes another attack from Dylan Davies as the field sets up just for a moment. Riley Pickerel, Rob Mayfield both have 7. They're tied for second. Lucas Strain with 5 in 4th place. 2 riders with 3 is Jay Delaney and Dylan Davies, who's going to keep adding on to his points. Davies known for having these really high-speed finishes late in a long race. He's trying to put on a show when everybody else is tired. I'm going to go the distance. He's going to be able to move himself well up in the finishing positions as he's going to be able to pick up these value points late in the race. A group of 3 that thinking they can catch him and not doing a lot of work so far. Davies, man, putting on a huge distance, some huge distance here on the rest of the field. This weekend's pursuit winner in the field. This is the kind of racing a pursuit rider likes. And I've seen Davies race many other times, and this is certainly a strength of his. So he'll pick up some value points. Like I said, this is exactly the kind of move you want to make when other riders are tired and you still got the motor. You might as well use it. Davies picking up some more points. Guess where he is at now? All of a sudden he's up in second place, and he's about to take a tie for the lead. Brewer and Davies in a tie, 8 apiece. Pickrell and Mayfield chasing that down right now, 7 apiece to them. They're both tied for third. Nine for Davies. Looks like the next closest rider is Mayfield working with Brewer. They're trying to get up there. That's a long ways to go. Not maybe in time to get any points out of it. Davies says, I'm going to just put the nail in the coffin, end this thing right now. Make it 10, make it 11. If I can get one more, why not? That'll be the race if we can hold on to it, which I don't see how it could happen any other way. Dylan Davies coming around the corner, starts to already let up the speed. Rob Mayfield trying to chase down, but again, he's making sure he's breaking any ties, because there are several ties across the field. Dylan Davies will take that one in this second round of the Omnium. And here comes our final sprint with the rest of the field coming across the line. Great racing from our elite men and from all of our competitors in this first session. That will conclude Saturday morning. How about a quick round of applause for all of our athletes today and all their work they've done here. Appreciate all the hard work that we see on display. That's what we're using. It's meant for YouTube, so it's meant for people to like download.
Is this the thing I showed you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's meant for people to download and put it in their videos.
It didn't seem bad when I looked at it.
A lot of it's great. I love it, actually.
It's better than EDM Dynamics.
Thank you all again for tuning in on the live stream, and for those that are here in person and cheering on our athletes, we appreciate you being in the house, and we look forward to some more racing. It sounds like we'll be starting back up around 2 for our junior riders that are going to be competing in that session. Look forward to more. We'll be streaming that action then, and looking forward to some more great racing here at Burnaby. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll be back with you around 2 o'clock today for our next session of racing.